Okay, so this session here, we're going to be doing what I call pre-Pilates or Pilates fundamentals. So none of the exercises that we're going to be doing are actually part of the classical mat series, but they're exercises to get you engaged and connected and understand where you should be moving from and kind of find your abdominals, because a lot of times we don't know where our abs are. Okay. So, so if you've never done Pilates before, this would be a great video to watch and go through, maybe before you jump into some of the other online videos available. Yeah. Okay. So let's lie down on our back, and we're going to start really basic with breathing. So go ahead and so Michelle's been doing Pilates a long time, so I'm going to ask her for a brief moment to forget she's done Pilates. And when we breathe, typically, we kind of breathe shallow and low in our belly, right? So just put your hands on your belly. And when you breathe, I want you to feel how normally when you breathe, you kind of breathe up into your hands and then back away from your hands, right? You kind of make this doming action. Okay, good. Not very deep breaths, kind of shallow. We all do this. Okay, so for Pilates breath, we want to breathe, inhale deeply and exhale deeply and really fill up the lungs. So I'm going to ask you to put your hands on your ribs. Yep, so you feel your bones of your ribs on your hands. And so when you inhale, I want you to feel your ribs expand out to the side. So not so much up into my hand here, but think out like an accordion. So inhale, yep, you feel the ribs. Now as you exhale, feel the ribs pull away from your hand. So, and then you feel how the ribs knit together and this belly hollows out a little bit. So inhale, breathe out to the sides of the room like a bellows, and then exhale. And it's really helpful to put your own hands on your rib cage so you can feel that. And it's not hard, it's a soft opening. And then exhale. And then last one. Inhale and exhale. Okay. Now, so that was out to the side of the room. We also want to feel ourselves breathe into our back. So go ahead and put your hands kind of underneath the lower part of your rib cage. Good. And then so let's not forget about breathing out to the sides of the room, but also feel yourself breathing into your back. So I want you to inhale through the nose and exhale. So our breathing, keep going with that. So the breathing changes from just sort of the shallow belly breathing to bigger. Really filling up the lungs and then exhaling all the air out of the lungs. And then in and out. And then do that one more time. And then out. Good. And take your hands out. So how'd that feel? Good. Cleanse. So in Pilates, we really want to focus on that deep inhale and exhaling out all the air. So even if the teacher or the video isn't cueing the breathing, still think about, are you getting a really deep inhale and a nice exhale, pushing all the air out, that cleansing breath. Okay, so now we're going to work on a little bit. We're going to move our leg and we're going to try not to move our pelvis, which sounds easy, but it's not. Okay, so you're going to have your arms long at your side and both of your knees are bent. We're going to move one leg at a time. So right now, don't tuck your tailbone. There. So when Michelle's lying here, she might feel a little air pocket behind her lumbar spine, which is about where your waistband is. And that's okay. Okay. I don't want you to try to shove your waistline and tuck your pelvis into the mat. So I want to watch that this stays stable, that you don't kind of roll right to left. So you're going to brush your right leg out on the mat. So just straighten out the right leg. Good. And now you're going to pull the knee back to where it was, back to bent without, yes. Good. Okay, now let's go to the left side. So brush the left side out. Good. And pull it in. Good. And then brush the right leg out. Brush it out. Good. Good. So what I'm seeing is that she stays stable here, that she doesn't rock her pelvis forward Good. And then what you're going to feel when you pull that leg back in is the area between the two hip bones, so here, and the pubis bone. So kind of that low triangle. Okay, so brush the left leg out. And then pull it back in. Yeah, and she's nice and stable. Okay, go again on the right. And if you find that when you brush your leg out, like if you feel your back arch, they see how Michelle's overarching, you're not ready to brush your leg all the way out and then bend the knee in. So it's okay. Let's just go out 75%. If that's where you can, if that's all the movement you've got without letting your back arch, then that's where you're at today, and that's fine. Again, Pilates is about precision and control, not about making it as big as you can without the strength to support it. Okay, and then bring this back in. Okay, that was good. Did you kind of feel those? So you want it, and it's not a lot of movement, but you feel those abs fire up, and that's what I want you to find. Okay, now we're going to move the arms without movement going on, like the ribs splaying open and arching our back off. Okay, so we're going to just move one arm at a time. So let's bring both arms up to the ceiling. Okay, so the right arm's going to go, if we can go all the way to the mat, I want Michelle to do that, but not if I see these ribs splaying open. So take the right arm down to the mat and the left, over your head to the mat, excuse me, and the left arm down to the side, all the way down. Good. Now, keep this knit together and bring both arms back up to the ceiling. Good. And now let's switch. So this is also called a paddle arm. And you may find that there's an arm you cannot get over your head, and that's fine. And then pull it down. Now, on this side, I want you to take that right arm over your head and overarch for me. So do you see how she, like, I can stick my whole hand under here. I don't want to do, and her rib is lifted and her shoulders up by her ear. So Michelle's got her arm on the floor, but that's about all I can say. There's nothing else. There's nothing else going on that's active pre-Pilates. Okay, so bring the arms back up. Okay, so let's do that side again and stay connected. So there we go. That's better. Now don't tuck your pelvis so much. There you go. Good. And then both arms back up. Good. And now go to the other side. So who knew that a simple paddling of the arms could make you work?
It's taken me years.
Yes. and then yeah, and if you're really tight in your shoulders, it's probably going to be very difficult for you to get that arm all the way to the floor. And so if let's go 50% back and show. It may look like this. And that's fine. That is okay. I don't want you to shove your arm to the floor if you're feeling pain in your shoulder or if we're doing the things where we're losing our abdominals. Because right now, Michelle's moving her arms from her abs, and that's what I want you to do. And then go one more. So, good. And then down. Good. And now both arms up. Okay, now we're going to get tricky here. Okay, so you're going to press the right leg out and the left arm over the head without anything shifting. So right leg out, left arm over the head. Good. And now you're going to pull everything back into what I'll call the center. Good. Yes. And so those ribs, her ribs, I want these, especially this side, get those ribs heavy onto my fingertips. Yeah. Do you feel the difference there?
Yeah.
Okay. So let those ribs sink down. Okay. Now go to the second side. And it's not unusual if you can't extend either limb all the way to the end range of motion. Now, let the ribs sink down. So lift that right arm a little bit. There. That's better with that arm off the mat. Now pull it back in. Okay, good. And then brush. So, and then go back to the first side. Or the left arm overhead, right leg long. So we're trying to keep, and then pull it back in. So we're trying to keep our spine stable and our pelvis stable as we move the arms and legs. And then do one more set. So that right arm, that's good right there. Even a little, yeah. Especially when we add the leg lengthening out. Yeah, so that arm's good. That's where you're at today, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then bring it up, good. And then right leg, left arm. I had to think about that for a minute. Good. And then pull it in. Good. and then lower the arms down. Okay, so if you're watching this and not doing it, if you're just watching and not participating, it might just look, she's lying on the floor moving her arms and legs. But until you do it, it's all about, Pilates is about learning how to move your extremities, meaning your arms and legs, from your center. So we have to find that. And lying on the mat's the easiest way because you have the support of the floor to hold you up. So this should be a lot of, it's a lot of deep work and it's subtle, but you're really feeling those abs fire up. Okay, now let's work on a little bit of bridging because that's a common thing what we do in Pilates. So press your arms down into the side. Good. And then let's have your legs sits bone width apart so we're not together. Good. And then let's bend your knees a little bit more. Okay. So bridging should never hurt your low back. So I just want you to tuck your tailbone and roll up into a bridge. And so Michelle here's got her ribs knit together. She's in a nice long line from her knee down to her armpit, and she's using her rear end and her hamstrings and her belly. And now she's going to articulate down, meaning she's trying to put each bone down in her spine, each vertebra, one by one. Now, when you first do this, that's hard to do. You might come down in 3 chunks, but just it's something you have to work at. Do the best you can. All of a sudden one day you might find you come down in 4 chunks. That's improvement. Okay, let's do that again. Roll it up. Good. And roll down. Bone by bone. Good. And then we release the pelvis all the way at the bottom. Good. And again, so really stand into those feet and roll it up.
Should we show an example of a bad bridge?
Yeah. Let's show an example of a bad. So see how Michelle's overarching like a little back bend and these ribs are splaying open? And you probably feel it like right here. It's kind of a compression, it's weightiness, it's not comfortable in the low back. Okay, so you don't want to come into an overarched extension. So and then come back to a regular good bridge. So think about this long diagonal. If I had like a laser pointer, that's what you want to see. When she overarches, my long diagonal has a hump in it, and I don't want that. Okay, and then roll it back on down. Good. Okay. Now, the next thing we do a lot of, Pilates has a lot of upper body flexion. Lots of upper body curling, especially on the mat. Lots of upper body curling. So we want to make sure we curl our upper body up effectively and pain-free. So put your hands behind your head for now. Interlace your fingers. We're going to support our skull. Okay. And this will be the same thing that you do. So I want you to think your ribs are knit together. Good. They're drawing down. Good. And I want you to take a big inhale. And on the exhale, feel the ribs slide down, curl the head, the neck, the shoulders. Look down into the belly. Let your arms help hold your head up. Good. And then curl and round down. Good. And again, inhaling, start to curl the head, the neck, the shoulders, round, scoop up. So the gaze is down into the belly. Because Michelle, lift your eyes and look to the ceiling. Do you feel how there's a lot of strain in your neck now? That's what I don't want you to do. And then curl down. Good. And then go ahead and interlace the fingers. So you make like a sling, a nice support for that skull. Okay, let's try that twice more. So take an inhale and curl it on up. Good. And then exhale, curl it down. So do you feel how the upper abs are lifting the head instead of the sides of your neck? And if you can only do 2 of these before you feel your neck fire up, then that might be where you're at. That's okay. There's no point in continuing to do it and not feeling the ab connection. If you're just feeling like it's all in the neck, we're not curling up appropriately. And let's try that one more time. And then curl it on up. Good. Up a little bit higher. There we go. And then all the way on down. So that's the upper body curl. That's something you'll do quite often. Just the arms will be in different positions. Okay, let's do a little spinal movement with flexion into extension. So you're going to come onto all fours on the hands and the knees. We're going to do cat-cow. So like I said, we do flexion. We also do extension. So when Michelle's on all fours, her I can't even think of body parts. Shoulder and wrist are stacked. So yes, and her hips and knees are stacked. So bring your knees forward just a little bit. Okay, so right now she's what I would call in this tabletop position. Her spine is neutral, meaning it's got some natural curves in it. So we're going to go into flexion. So she's going to tuck her tailbone under. She's going to roll her spine up. So she's in like this rainbow shape, or what you might call an angry cat. Good. Now she's going to release and go into flexion. So she's going to roll her pelvis forward and she's going to release. Now keep the arms straight. And don't overdo the flexion or the extension. Good. Lift your head a little bit. There. Drop down through here. Good. Now tuck the tailbone and roll it on up. So drop that head. Roll, 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 roll up. So you almost feel you're pulling your abs up and under your rib cage. Yep. And then we're going to release and go into extension. There we go. It's almost like a little bit of a horseback feeling. And then tuck the tailbone and roll it up. Good. Into flexion. And then release and go into extension. This just feels good. Okay, now we're going to come back to that tabletop. Okay, we're going to go into what's called thread the needle. And we're going to do that to help open up the chest area and preparation for some of the Pilates mat work. And if you had a tight day at a desk, if you've been sitting at a desk all day, this usually feels pretty nice. So I'm going to have you take your right arm and rotate open towards the ceiling. So you're going to rotate the chest open the best you can. Good. Now you're going to dive that right arm through your other opposite arm, and try to put the right ear on the mat. So you get a big stretch to that shoulder girdle and through your neck. Nice. And then again, inhaling, rotate open. Good. We're trying to get that upper thoracic rotation. See, you're kind of tight on this side. Do you feel it's hard? So we'll see if that left side has a little more movement. And then dive on through, ear down. Good. And then one more. Inhale, rotate open. Good. And then dive on through, ear down to the mat. And good. And then let's come back to the other side. Okay, so make sure we're set up properly. Wrists and shoulders are stacked, knees and hips. Good. You know what? Let's turn around and do the other side so everyone can see your left side. Yeah. Okay. So left arm, rotate that left side open. So rotate up. There you go. Good. And then dive on through. Ear down so you feel the neck stretch. Good. And then again, inhaling, lift and rotate open. Good. Exhaling, dive on through. Good. And again, inhaling and lift. Good. Exhaling, dive on through. And one more time. Inhaling, rotate. Good. So we're getting that chest open. Good. Exhaling, dive on through. Nice. Okay, and then go back into a child's pose, stretch it on out. So that can be challenging to get that chest open if you especially if you have a desk job where you sit in front of a computer all day or you spend a lot of time in front of the computer. We get real tight through the pecs. That thread the needle helps open all that up. Okay, we're going to finish with another extension exercise because we do some extension in Pilates. So we did a little bit of extension just a moment ago in cat-cow. Now we're going to do extension lying down. So I want you to lie all the way flat on your tummy. Yep. And then you're just going to have your forehead on the mat and your arms down at your side, palms up. Good. Now, so if you're tight in your low back, you may need to have your legs slightly apart. If you know that you've got a lot of mobility and you're never tight in your low back or pelvis, then go ahead and have your heels together, toes apart. Okay, so extension work is not meant to hurt the low back. It's to strengthen the back and feel this upper thoracic area come into extension. So I want the legs long, the belly pulled up and in. And I want you to start to press the arms straight. And then I want you to push a marble away with your nose as you roll the head, the neck, the shoulders up. Your gaze is just at the top of the mat. Good. And then you're going to exhale and lower. And on the next one, I want you to actually lift your palms off the mat. Okay. And again, inhaling and lift. Good. Good. So you feel the shoulders draw down. Good. Drop your chin a little bit so you have that long neck. Chest is opening, but we're comfortable. No pain or compression through there. Exhaling and lower. And one more time. Inhaling and lift. Good. Exhaling and lower on down. Nice. Okay, go ahead and push back to child's pose again. And stretch it on out. So that was Michelle taking her spine into extension. And in the mat series, you will be doing extension in, there might be different positions of the arms, but the concept is the same, that you feel the work in your upper back, but you don't feel compression or pain in your lumbar spine. We don't want to compress the discs. It's all about finding length. Okay, and then that was your pre-Pilates fundamentals, just some basic movements that are good to know before you go into a beginner mat class.